Hi friends, we're back again for another math lesson, this time on shapes again as well. And I have a very quick read aloud to go with this. It's called Shapes That Roll, and it's by Karen Nagel. Shapes that roll. But I look on the cover and I can see a shape that definitely does roll. And I see some other shapes. I wonder if they roll. I wonder how they roll. Certainly different than that other shape. Shapes that roll. Follow the triangle, circle, and square. Follow them here, follow them there, follow them high, follow them low, up and down to the places they'll go. They'll show you shapes that slant, stack, and roll. Shapes that are half and shapes that are whole. Shapes that are round, shapes with 8 sides. Let these 3 different shapes be your expert shape guides. Shapes that roll, shapes that can't. Shapes with sides that angle and slant. Shapes to throw, shapes to share. I love this one, shapes to share. 2 different shapes, and it's one of my favorite things that we could eat. I love that one. Shapes that dangle in the air. Oh, lots of different kinds of shapes here. Shapes for stop, shapes for go. A house has many shapes to show. So I know yesterday, our last math lesson, I don't know if it was yesterday that you watched it, that Mrs. Michelay did on shapes as well. She asked you to draw a picture, and I noticed that some of you used your shapes to draw a picture very similar to this, which is why I chose this book. Shapes that shine, shapes that freeze, shapes of fruits that grow on trees. Shapes that glimmer up above, shapes that make you think of love. Shapes to open, shapes to close, shapes that stand upright in rows. Shapes that teeter, shapes that play, shapes help people find their way. A shape that's whole, a shape that's in pieces. Shapes with many folds and creases. Shapes are heavy, shapes are light. Pillow shapes are sure to fight. What shape is that pillow? Oh, those ones are kind of a squarish, but my pillow that I have is more of a rectangle. Spheres are round, circles are flat. Oh, something really important to remember. I'm going to repeat that page. Spheres are round and circles are flat. Think about that question. What is the difference between a sphere and a circle? Squares lie down and cubes are fat. Now you know shapes. How cool is that? Again, another thinking question. What's the difference between a square and a cube? Did you see the arrows and the circles and the squares? Did you see the hearts and the stars and the ovals everywhere? Triangles, rectangles, diamonds, rhombuses, pentagons of blue, crescents, octagons, and semicircles too. Shapes of every size and kind are found inside this book. The whole wide world is made of shapes. They're everywhere you look. And so, very true. I love this jacket page that has all of the beautiful shapes. And so I was inspired by some of the pictures that you were drawing for Mrs. Michelay using the shapes that she talked about in her last lesson. So we're going to build on that lesson today. And before we begin, though, I want you to try a warm-up. And this warm-up does not have anything to do with shapes. So different kind of brain thinking for this warm-up. So if Nico is a new student in our school, and he comes in and he has lunch at 12 o'clock. And if he plays baseball at 4 o'clock, and he goes to school at 8 o'clock, can you put Nico's day in order by the events that I just talked about. Which event came first? And which event was in the middle? And which event did he do last? So I'll repeat it one more time. Nico is a new student in our school, and he eats lunch at 12 o'clock. That's when we eat lunch too, so possibly he's, in our classroom. He plays baseball at 4 o'clock. And he comes to school at 8 o'clock. Which of those things does he do first? You're right. He comes to school first, then he has lunch, and then he goes to baseball, right? Kind of an easy, cheesy warm-up, but not anything that had to do with shapes. And I kind of wanted you to kind of flop your brain thinking there for a minute. So for this lesson, you need to have your toolkit with your shapes, just like you did for the last lesson when you did it with Mrs. Michelet. So in your toolkit, I want you to take out some shapes. So I'm going to take out a hexagon, and I'm going to take out a rhombus, and I'm going to take out a trapezoid, and I'm going to take out a triangle. How about that? All right, you can choose whatever 4 shapes you want. Okay, those are the 4 that I chose. There's other ones in my toolkit, but I'm just going to choose those. So here's what I'd like you to do next. I'd like you to take 2 of those shapes, just 2. And I would like you to put them together. I'm going to fix my phone up a little better so you can see. All right, you're going to pick 2 shapes, and you are going to make a new shape using 2 of those shapes. Okay, so maybe I decide, I'm going to take my hexagon. I'm going to take the largest one. You can see I'm going to trace it. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to trace it on your paper or on your whiteboard or whatever you have to draw with. There's my hexagon. I'm going to take the largest shape, and I'm going to take the smallest shape. And I'm going to make a new shape. Kind of looks a little bit like a clown. Look, if I did this, I could put a, look, it looks like a little clown man with a hat on, maybe, right? So there's my new shape using 2 different shapes, all right? You try that. All right, when you're finished with that, here's the next thing I'd like you to do. This time, you're going to have these same shapes, but I'm going to trade my hexagon for a square. I wonder if I have a square in here somewhere. Oh, I don't have one in here, I don't think. Why don't I have a square? Oh, here it is. There's one. Okay. There. Okay. So this time, I want you to have the exact same shapes. Okay? A square, a triangle, a trapezoid, and a rhombus. And this time, I want you to use 2 of those shapes. Which 2 can you pick? That when you put them together, it makes a triangle. 2 shapes that you can put together to make a triangle. You have to use 2 because I already have a triangle. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe I can just use this one. Nope. And you cannot use this one 2 times. You need 2 different shapes. What 2 different shapes can I use to make a triangle? Think about that. And as soon as you have your answer, draw it on your paper. Show me the 2 shapes that you're going to use. All right? This time, I want you to use those same 2 shapes. Those same 2 shapes that you just used to make a triangle, I want you to now make a rectangle. Use the same 2 shapes and make a rectangle. Can you do that with the 2 shapes that you chose? Really a thinking question, right? Are you ready? We'll go back and find the answer in a little bit if it's going to bother you, okay? Because I know it would bother me if I didn't know what the answer was. So if it's going to bother you, keep working on it. We'll come back at the very end and I'll share the answer. All right, for the next challenge I want you to work through is you have these same shapes again. Do you see them? This time I want you to choose one shape and only one shape, and you can use it more than one time. More than one time, and I want you to make a triangle using one shape, and you can use it as many times as you want, but only one shape to make a triangle. Last time we used two shapes and we put them together and we only used each one twice. I'm sorry, each one, two shapes we used one time together. This time you can choose one shape and use it as many times as you want, that one shape, to make a triangle. Try that. Which shape can you use as many times as you want until you have another triangle? All right. Think you have the answer to that one? All right, let's try the last one. The last one, you have these shapes again. This time, you can use the same shape. You can use more than one shape. You can use as many shapes as you want, only of these, to make a hexagon. And for some of you, this was pretty easy. I see it right away. I can hear some of you say, I see that was pretty easy, Mrs. Matthews. This time, I want you to show me two different ways to make a hexagon using different blocks, different pattern blocks, all right? So 2 hexagons using different pattern blocks, 2 hexagons. All right, so when you're finished, I'd like you to take a picture and send it to me. I know some of you have been doing a wonderful job sending us some pictures, and Mrs. McLean and I are saving those and using those. So take a picture and send it to me, all right, so that I can see the answers that you got. And if you're struggling with it, send me an email and I'll help you with an answer, okay? Or maybe when you meet with me on a one-on-one, we can talk about that, all right? So until next time, keep working with your shapes. Don't forget your homework page at the end of this lesson. And practice, practice, practice with your shapes, making other shapes. Stay well.